Hey, it's Matty at mixandmastermysong.com. As many of you know, mostly what I mix in is Studio One, but occasionally I do get sessions in Logic, and it's always good to kind of have a template ready for mixing in other programs, or a client might want me to mix in Logic. So I have this mixing template I was going to go over, and you can see just kind of how I get things set up in Logic. And if you're interested in getting this template, you can pick it up at mixingpresets.com too. So first what I do is I have a ton of auxes, and the first four are reverbs. So I usually like to have a plate ready to go, a room, a hall, and then ambience. The ambience is what I'm using. These are all my slate. This is like my slate template. I'm using the FG16, which is kind of recreation, I guess, or what do you call it? The impulses from the AMS 16 knee reverb. So I start off with that as my ambience. My plate is from the FG480, which is an impulse from the Lexicon 480. In the room, I use the FGQRS, which is another old impulse reverb. And then a hall is from the FG480, the medium hall setting that's classically known. Then I just have, I always like to have a bunch of delays ready to go. I got an eighth note, quarter note, and half note. And then I'll use a slap verb, which is usually for maybe guitars or mostly vocals. Right now I just kind of have a preset setting with 32 on one side, 64 on the other. The spread's at a medium spread. And that's about it. I'll adjust these as I mix. A lot of times I'm going to turn my high pass filter up quite a bit and bring the low pass filter a bit down. And that's kind of like the setting I have for the slap. And then the last delay is my telephone delay, which I always seem to find a reason to use. And for that I'm using the repeater once again with a telephone 2 setting and just a quarter note. Start off with a quarter note delay, and I can switch that if need be. Sometimes too I'll put like a fab filter or the Q10 from Waves, which has a pretty cool telephone effects setting, and you can just pop it right on there if you want to get a little more realistic or severe sounding telephone sound. This one's a little light, so that's that. And then the next group is my group of auxes for my instruments. So like when I'm mixing, I like to have each section of the band, if you will, going to its own aux. There's a couple reasons for that. Sometimes I like to parallel my drums, or I might just want to turn the drums down a dB. My drums are down too loud, so I can turn them down a dB or two, or turn my bass up a dB. So everything can go to its own section, and even sometimes I'll maybe compress the drum sound overall a bit, or compress the music a bit overall, or maybe spread the music on the sides a bit. So, guitars, keyboards, all that go to music. Bass obviously goes to bass. All the drums go to drums. Sometimes I'll also do another aux called high percussion, which has all the hi-hats and stuff, so I can separate those two. And then the Vox, obviously, are all the vocals. And last but not least are the effects. And so what's happening there is they're going to B15. All my effect returns go here. And that's sometimes, too, if I want to maybe just get a little more out of the effects, I can turn them up. Sometimes if my mix is getting a bit harsh, I'll put a low cut on the effects to get rid of some of the high end of the reverb returns and so forth. So it's always great to have all these in little sections, so I can, do small changes towards the end of the mix that might help the overall sound. And lastly is my master track, which, like I said, this is my kind of Slate Edition template. I got the tape on there, I got the mix bus with this, one of my favorite EQs, the lift. I use it on all kinds of stuff, and you can just boost a little bit here and here on your master, and it'll just kind of give you a little more push. Sometimes I'll do this before I really start mixing, because that way I'm going to have to do it as much individual EQing as I mix. Next is the FBC Gray, which is like an SSL compressor, then a little bit of tape on there, and finally the Slate limiter, which I turn the compressor off and just usually use the limiter here. So I hope that helps you out if you're using Logic and you want somewhere to start. Like I said, you can just copy my settings here, or you can get the actual template and just download and start using it from mixingpresets.com. But yeah, that's it. If you got any questions or comments, leave them below. Please like and subscribe. And if you need your songs mixed or mastered, hit me up at mixandmastermysong.com. Thanks.